You're a parasite, you're a thief. Instead of those leaves of democracy, you're a parasite. You're a thief. You are the disease. Instead of the leaves of democracy. Freedom ain't free. Going to sell it for finders fee. Your freedom ain't free. Your freedom, it don't come cheap. When you sell it for a finder's fee, and you're blatant traitor of democracy. Parasite, a disease is dead. Those autumn leaves of democracy. We're gonna sell it for finders. Sell it. And you don't believe. You don't believe anything but what you need. And that's all greed. Parasite, disease, it's dead. The autumn leaves of democracy. You burn in the old ways for new ways. It seems so great. You betray. It seems so great. You're old and gray. Maybe it won't get much older in the coming day. You're a parasite. You're the disease, like the dead autumn leaves of democracy. You're a parasite. You're a disease, like the dead autumn leaves of a failing in democracy. And thief, you sell us out. And that's no doubt. You sell us out. How much did they pay for you now? No doubt. You sell it for a finder's fee. For dead thieves. You sell it for a finder's fee. Cause you're a thief. You're a parasite. Oh yeah, you're a parasite. I think many are disgusted by your life. Cause there's no life. Disgusted by your life. There's no life. Dead autumn leaves of a failing democracy. Dead are thieves. Oh yes. What you get. From resentment.
This is Van Electric Ghost. This is episode 127, the political electronic music of Dead August Leaves. About 2 years ago, when we created the Van Electric Ghost in 2016, we came up with a bunch of acronyms. We came up with the idea of PEG, which is the acronym for Phantom Electric Ghost. we also came up with expansive sound experiments, the concept of doing music in a stream of consciousness kind of jazz freestyle jam band recording format with analog and digital synths recorded live track by track without using digital audio workstations. So you have a kind of free feeling old school recording technique to capture electronic music, which typically today is done in DAWs and somewhat anesthetic and has production quality that might be too perfect or too clear without the indie edge of alternative radio or college radio or sounds from bands like that I'm very into, like early REM, early Replacements, early Husker Du, when they were on their indie labels. We have this kind of the authenticity of lo-fi or recording that is not overwrought. But inside of that, we had the idea of PEM, which is political electronic music, where you actually make a political statement in electronic music, like Arlo Guthrie, like Woody Guthrie, like Dylan, and today like Bright Eyes or Conor Oberst or Springsteen. You're making a statement, but with electronic music. And we have some bands, Radiohead has made some statements, but sometimes they're overwrought with like you're hard to get to what the actual definition is. What Dead August Leaves or Dead Autumn Leaves is referring to the destruction of the American political system because of the election of Donald Trump and his fascist and authoritarian leanings toward dictators, his refusal to be part of the NATO alliance, to consider our Western allies' opinion over Putin's opinion, to be corrupt and in bed with corporate interest over the interest of the environment, over the interest of common sense, and then anti-immigration policies that are so flashback to to the old South, and you get flashes back to Bull Connor, where you get this idea that the South wants to be an armed camp that wants to keep the outsider from coming in and ruining everything. Because we're going to ruin the Ozzie and Harriet moment by letting people come over that only want to work. At night, would say the majority of people who come over the border are, migrant workers who are doing jobs Americans don't do. And people who want a better life and have put themselves in a lot of harm's way to get away from violence that was caused by a lot of right-wing policies in terms of, aligning with dictators, aligning with people that, pretty much pushed peasants off their farms, pushed people, away from their homes and put them on the road to ruin. And now we're, double whammy on them, separating their children, having their children die in our custody. So political electronic music, this specific song, Dead August or Autumn Leaves, is referring to the dead autumn leaves of a broken democracy or a fallen democracy, which is what Josephine sings. And that, there's this rot in our system because all the checks and balances that were supposed to prevent a demagogue from getting in power seem to have failed. And it's taken far too long to get somebody out of office that really doesn't have the actual ability to be in the office. And the thing about what we did, our first record brought this idea of political electronic music with Something Wicked. Our first lines of that song were something wicked this way comes, Trump. And this was done prior to Trump's election, before he even won, before there was even any thought that he was even running. We kind of put that out there that we thought an ill wind was coming and something wicked this way was coming, and it was Trump. And that record is still available on Amazon.com. I'll put a link to the Amazon record. as well as the other two Phantom Electric Ghost records. We're getting ready to, in addition to our record that's out on Digger's Factory as a pre-order, our first vinyl record, Dark Ghost Volume 1, another Dark Ghost Volume, which actually doesn't state it's Dark Ghost, but it's really Dark Ghost Volume 3, is The Flower That Blooms at Midnight in the Tomb. And this song will be on that album. This album will be through TuneCore, be available on Amazon.com on demand CD. So there'll be a physical CD for this, as well as downloadable and streaming releases for this, where Dark Horse Volume 1 is only on Digger's Factory. There's only 196 copies left. But we recorded so much that we felt that we wanted to give this alternative. And this is kind of this album and this song, The Dead August Leaves, was written totally on an OPZ from Teenage Engineering. We've had it for about 3 weeks, and this whole set of songs we've been talking about for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, are all the songs we've created on the OPZ, bringing into our workflow maybe some flourishes with a Moog Mother 32 or DFAM or System 1M, or even our Roland Juno. But this particular track, The Dead August Leaves, has no additional overdubs other than Josephine's voice, which is courtesy of a VT3. And I think we talked about before that we've been leaning toward the VT3 because we found some issues on the VT4 with feedback and noise that we're surprised about. We're trying to figure out what the source of that is, but it seems to be more sensitive to noise and feedback, and we're trying to work it out with the noise canceling capabilities, but the VT3 seems to be working for us a little better. But this particular song, again, is, one of our big political electronic music songs. Something Wicked is another one. Indigo Menace, the title track from Indigo Menace, which is also on Amazon.com, is another PEM song. From time to time, we've written these songs. They're not in every set of Family Ghost music. We also had their song, The Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is from Indigo Menace, which is another PEM song. So early Family Electric Ghost records, the ones that were on CD through TuneCore, which again are still on Amazon.com, had this kind of PEM feel. And we felt that sometimes, we get into the sexual romps that Josephine and Stephanie get into in their roles as dominatrix, and we kind of go in that left field way of thinking, inspired by a lot of, industrial music like Depeche Mode and, Bowie in Berlin and, of course, Lou Reed, Transformer, and early Velvet Underground. Kind of gives those ideas that's kind of romping in a sexual way. But this particular song doesn't really have those sexual connotations. It's totally a political song talking about the death of our political system in that, the gates there are supposed to be in place to keep a demagogue, to keep somebody who's not following the Constitution from being in place is in place. Now, we know most Family Electric Ghost fans are not Republicans because we deal with, bisexuality, transgender, gender dysphoria, politics. We're deeply pro everything that's like about going forward in life and progressive music and progressive thinking. And so, if there are fans who are offended by this, I'm sorry. Hopefully our sponsors won't be upset by it, but this is part of what we do. Anybody signing up for the Ghost kind of knows where we are. If you've listened to our music, you would see where we are. Again, we'll put the links out to our older records, and just a nod. Like this time we had put out a great album with a collaborator, All Control K, who we no longer have a professional relationship with, but our album To Infinitum is still available on all the platforms. You can stream it on every single platform. You can download it at Amazon or Apple or any of the other streaming platforms out there. We wanted it to be a CD, but we never got to do that kind of upset that CD Baby kind of led us the wrong way. They told us it would be available a year ago as a CD and never got available, even though we selected that option. That's why we're going with TuneCore for the new Family Electric Ghost album that's going to be on CD. So we're going to have 2 physical albums again. The first one that's physically out there is the Dark Ghost Volume 1 on Digger's Factory, 196 copies, 2 vinyl set. It will be available by April. Pre-orders are being taken. There's only 200 copies in this run. It's not on digital, not available as a digital record. And so, yeah, that's the first one. The second one's going to be Flower That Blooms at Midnight in the Tomb, which is going to be on CD, not vinyl, on Amazon. And then it will be available for download. So we'll put these links out there, and hopefully everybody is having a good holiday season, and we're still exploring the Teenage Engineering OPZ, which is an awesome little mini workstation where we've been using heavily and enjoy it immensely. Looking to figure out if we should look at other mini synths to bring into the foil. We're kind of hoping that maybe OPZ, the Teenage Engineering, revamps the OP1. The OP1 is a really good machine we're looking at. But we've heard there's maybe a sampling module coming that would, maybe not need an OP1 if they create a sampling module for an OPZ. Or maybe they'll make additional capabilities and create another synth on top of OP1 and OPZ. We'd be really into that. And we're looking into what the next purchase should be. We're kind of leaning toward a grandmother or Roland Axe Edge for performance sake. But we're still thinking. We're waiting because we around this time of year, Moog usually announces whether they're going to put out another kind of mother module. And we've been, hoping that they would put out the Subharmonicon, which we talked about before, was released at Moog Fest in 2018. It's an amazing subharmonic sequencing synth, which we think probably would be like the next step of what we'd like. We're really heavily into sequencing, and this machine, I think, would be really another cool machine to add to our stable with the DFAM and the Mother 32. And if it's in the $599 price range, we're really interested in that. So we're looking at what should be the next purchase, and we'll talk to everybody later in the next year. Thank you. This is Family Electric Ghost, and we're pushing our brand new record, Dark Ghost Volume 1, which is going to be on Digger's Factory Records. And so if you go to https://www.diggersfactory.com/vinyl/226598, you can get our brand new album on pre-order. Comes out in April. We have 196 copies out of 200 left. It's $24 plus shipping and handling. It's a 2 vinyl album. It is our statement on electronica, experimental music, and progressive trance.